It's the most unique challenge faced all season. Difficult, tricky, technical. This is Pocono. The ARCA RE Series returns, and the championship is wide open. Rookie Michael McDowell broke through last time out in Kentucky for his first career win. And now the pressure is on point leader Frank Kimmel. In June, problems plagued many here, and lessons, hopefully, have been learned. Just 10 races remain in this chase for the ARCA RE Series title. The Pennsylvania 200 gets underway right now. Welcome, everyone, to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's the Pocono Raceway for the Pennsylvania 200. Uncharacteristically beautiful day here. We've had to fight the rain before, but not today. A gorgeous day for round 14 of the 2007 season. Well, everyone, I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons. Now, when you go to Pocono, obviously you've got to deal with quite a few people getting in maybe their first race, because this is an area where we're going to see more people try to jump in there. But we've got a lot of youth up front today, Phil. We really do. And let's don't go any farther back than the front row. We have third-generation driver Bobby Santos III on the pole. Finished third his last time out of Kentucky. A lot of talent there in the Bill Davis car. And then Josh Wise, starting on the outside of the front row, actually ran this race in June, finished in the top 10 without one lap of practice. He came right from running the truck race at Texas, so a lot of talent up there. Right, and in the top 10, we've got 7 that have never won a race, and this is a tricky track to try to tame. Very much a compromised racetrack. 3 distinctly different corners, all different bank, different shapes. Most of the drivers feel like you have to compromise this racetrack, and they want to be good in turn 3 because that leads them onto the long front straightaway where we will see speeds probably close to 200 miles an hour. The first guys that are going to get to turn number 1 is who Wendy Venturini is going to talk about.
Rick, of our 13 ARCA RE Series races, we've had 11 different winners, and it could be a 12th today. Here's why. Rick mentioned about 7 of the top 10 starting guys have never won in the ARCA RE Series. We'll check out our front row. Pole qualifier, Bobby Santos III on the front row in a development driver car. And, of course, he is being crew chief today by Bill Davis Racing, Tommy Baldwin. And on the outside front row, we have Josh Wise, also in a development car for Eddie Sharp and Michael Waltrip Racing. So 2 Toyotas dominating the front row. They're going to go head-to-head for possibly a 12th different winner. Jim?
Wendy Michael McDowell starts right behind that lead pair. He's now extremely strong in the points. 7 top 10 finishes, up to second in the standings with that big win in Kentucky. How much confidence does he have here? Well, he thinks if he averages 3 positions a race on Frank Kimmel, he may indeed win a championship. He'll start 4th today. The current front leader, Frank Kimmel, will start back in 19th. He had a wire physically arcing in his lap during qualifying. He thinks he has a much better race car. Whereas Frank Kimmel gone to the well to find out more speed here at Pocono. The Roush Garage of Matt Kenseth. Crew Chief Robbie Reiser, he told me moments ago, has been a big help in getting his setup on his Ford down pat here at Pocono. Look for him to advance from 19th. Rick? Yeah, and what a great place to look for advice. Roush, I mean, they've had a lot of success at this racetrack, so obviously go to the best. We take a look at our point standings as they are through 13 races of the 2007 season. Frank Kimmel out in front, which is not something that is uncharacteristic of this series, but Michael McDowell has had such a strong start to this season. He is really a competitor for that championship. He really is, and he wants it badly. I talked to him just moments before we went on the air here, and he really wants that championship. Guys that are going to start a little bit further back in the field. We talk about Frank Kimmel having to come from the 19th position, but how about Dexter Bean and Justin South, 33rd and 34th? Yeah, Dexter Bean had tied his career best finish here back in June. He finished 2nd, and Justin South, his average start this year is 14th. They both had problems yesterday and will have to go to the back of the pack. Guys that are in the back of the pack, you just mentioned Justin South. Will ride along with him in his number 59 car as he will try to work his way from the back to the front. This is a very tricky place to do that at. We're also going to ride along with Brian Silas of the number 11 car, the Nortrack Shell Rotella Ford. He was 8th last time out of Kentucky, which tied his career best. He starts in the 17th spot. A little closer to the front, starting in the 14th position from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, so about a hometown race for him, is Bobby Gerhart. We're going to ride along with him. He kicked off the 2007 season with a win at Daytona. Last time we were here, he finished 10th. Guys that are going to have to go to the back because of changes made to the cars before the start of this race. You see the list there. They'll have to go back as the field now is in the hands of our pole sitter.
Bobby Santos III brings the field down this extremely long straightaway, and we're underway. The green flag out at Pocono.
That's a beautiful shot looking back down the front straightaway, and we see these cars fan out as much as 5 wide.
Santos on the inside, Josh Wise on the outside, preferred line down closer to the white line. So Santos gets the nose in front of Josh Wise, and they'll go 1 and 2 as they get ready for the tunnel turn.
There's the 87 on the inside. That's Landon Castle. Just turned 18 about 3-4 weeks ago.
He ran in his first ARCA RE Series race 2 weeks ago at Kentucky. Had a very strong run going at that racetrack.
Yeah, had problems with the transmission early on. There's Jeremy Clements, the 3 on the inside of Michael McDowell. Jeremy Clements runs a limited schedule, always runs well.
How about Josh Wise wanting to lead lap number 1? Works to the inside of Bobby Santos, side by side as they come out of turn 3.
Looks like Bobby Santos is going to have the momentum on the outside, and he will lead lap number 1.
This one is going 80 laps, 200 miles from Pocono. A very tricky racetrack. You touched a little bit on it at the beginning of the show, Phil. 3 distinct turns, although we've seen some Cup drivers say, well, it's 6 turns.
Yeah, Carl Edwards actually talks like it being 6 turns. Turn 1, we call turn 1. He calls 1 and 2. Then they're getting ready to go in the tunnel turn here. We call that turn 2 or the tunnel turn. He calls it turns 3 and 4. So he has way too many turns here at this racetrack for me.
Again, side by side as they're working a little bit further back in the field.
The 32 of Joey Miller able to make the pass on the 99 of Travis Quapple. That is a battle for position. Obviously, there's Justin Allgaier on the inside of the 99 of Travis Quapple. Talked to Jeff Campy, the crew chief for Travis Quapple, and he felt like they were really loose qualifying and probably would start this race a little bit on the loose side. There's a 60 of Patrick Shelter. He's also trying to take over a spot.
Shelter and Travis Quapple side by side as they go across the stripe. You see on the top of the screen the ARCA RE running order. Up top as we are on our 3rd lap of 80, and whoa, Sheltra moving right up in front of Travis Quapple, and now Justin Marks comes to the inside with that 65.
There's the 11 of Brian Silas right there, coming off turn number 1. There's Frank Kimmel on the inside. Frank trying to make his move forward. He's won so many times. There's 16 top 5 finishes at this racetrack alone in the ARCA RE Series.
Frank Kimmel again trying to move up from his original starting position of 19th. He's got a championship to worry about here. He's coming into this 14th race of the season leading, but only 145 points. And really the momentum has got to go to Michael McDowell.
It really does. We saw for a moment Bobby Gerhart there. There's the lead. It's tightening up now. Bobby Santos, the 3rd leading. The 87 of Landon Castle. That is a Hendrick Motorsports car for Landon Castle.
At 18, do you have to work on patience early on in a race like this? I mean, Landon Castle, what a strong run he's got, and he looks like he's contender for the lead right now on lap 4.
He really is, and we only run 80 laps here. This is not that long a race here for the ARCA RE Series, so I'm sure Landon Castle has got all sorts of adrenaline going right now, and he would love to get the lead of this race.
You mentioned it only being 80 laps. Can anyone go on a one-stop strategy here? Could they go 40 and 40?
No, they may be able to stretch it to 40, but the problem is they qualified. As we see Landon Castle go for the lead. Going to back off now as they enter turn number 3.
Poked his nose underneath the 0-2 of Bobby Santos the 3rd. Now Bobby Santos running a lot higher line than we're seeing Landon Castle, but he keeps his momentum up through the corner.
He does. Look like Landon Castle had a pretty good run going off the corner. Wasn't quite able to get the momentum and use it to make that pass.
Earlier, we had a issue with the 11 of Brian Silas. It seems like he may have got into the wall.
Yeah, Brian, there we go. Riding with him right now. This is one of our onboards. This is coming off of turn number 3. You see, gets a little bit wide. Just made a slight bit of contact.
Here comes Landon Castle going to the front. Castle trying to take the top position away from Bobby Santos, and Justin South with problems. We see the smoke rolling out from underneath that car now.
What a horrible break. That's the 2nd engine they lost. That's why Justin had to go to the back. The caution is out. That will slow the field right now, but what a horrible break for Justin South. So optimistic coming into this race, and going to end up losing his 2nd engine of the weekend.
So on lap number 5, the 59 of Justin South will bring out our first caution of the day. The racing is underway from Pocono. We'll be back with more green flag racing right after these messages, live on Speed. TV's coverage of the ARCA RE/MAX Series from Pocono is presented by RE/MAX. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. Brought to you in part by Hardcore Motorsports, proud sponsor of the Hardcore Motorsports ARCA Safety Initiative. And by Prescription Flomax. A few more cars making their way onto pit road right now. Again, out in front of the field when the caution came out was the 87 Landon Castle. Right behind him, Bobby Santos, Josh Wise, and Jeremy Clements were your top four. Michael McDowell was running in the 5th position. We still see Landon Castle out there following the pace car around the racetrack.
You know, I was wondering, the 99 of Travis Kvapil actually came down pit road the first. That's him right there in that Roush Fenway, number 99. He came down pit road the lap before this, and I'm wondering if pit road may not have been open that early because the rest of the field obviously came down pit road this time, or were they just that heads up and got to pit road a lap quicker than anyone else?
Well, to find out, I believe Jim Trado is down there near Travis Kvapil's pits. We'll fire that question at him. Jim, do you know if pit road was open down there when Travis Kvapil came down earlier?
Well, I didn't hear the team talking about there was something on the access road. Travis Kvapil relaying to the team, and Jeff Campy just talked to him briefly about being patient and getting these tires scrubbed in really good. So we'll find out in a moment why indeed they decided to stop here, if it was a strategic move or something mechanical.
We saw quite a few other cars making their way down it, and you had mentioned before we went to break there about probably not going to be able to make it on one stop, but if you come in on lap 5, obviously now you can break it into halves a little bit easier, and you'll be able to make it the entire way.
Yeah, he could quite possibly be able to make it on one more pit stop. Again, we had qualifying, the fuel that they burned qualifying, and then all 3 pace laps, and not to mention the fact that we're getting better fuel mileage right now under these caution flags. So Travis stopped on lap number 5, so that may get him in his window with 75 laps remaining. He may be able to cut this race into a 38-37 kind of deal and make it on one more stop. That could be a big advantage later on.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned, as we had seen earlier, that 59 making his way into the garage. That's the reason for caution number 1. He had some problems. We're seeing the 99 slow on the inside of the racetrack. It looks like he may be coming back onto pit road. And again, you had mentioned earlier the possibility that he came in before pit road was open, so he might be serving a penalty right now.
Yeah, he may. I was really surprised that he came in that early, and then the rest of the field came in the next lap. And Jim, have you figured out what went on with the 99?
Yeah, I talked to the crew chief, Jeff Campy. They said they had a flat left front tire. Now, the left front tire was an issue last time here at Pocono. See, the shoulder is all intact, but it's broken away from the sidewall. So Travis Kvapil had to come down pit road. When the pits were closed, he drops from 8th to 32nd, but this is the main reason why he had to pit early.
So Travis Kvapil with issues going into our first pit stop window. And obviously in the ARCA RE/MAX Series, we always like to keep safety as the first and foremost objective in this series. And so we're going to have Jim Trado talk to us a little bit more about the Hardcore Motorsports ARCA Safety Initiative.
We've climbed under the hood of Justin Allgaier's number 16 car to show you one very important safety factor mandatory in all the ARCA RE/MAX Series cars. This is called the tether. It goes from the jack bolt on the right and left front of the car. It leads all the way down and connects to the spindle. So, for example, if this whole assembly breaks away from the car in an accident, this tether will hold it to the race car itself. So this jack bolt plays a key component to keeping this tethered or leashed to the race car. Safer for the competitors, and if the wheel does come up, it doesn't cause further accidents, or worse yet, go in the grandstand.
Definitely a safety concern there. Any parts coming off of a race car. So obviously the tethering of the wheels and the hood, the deck lid, a lot of things that they make sure that don't get into a fan area.
Absolutely.
So again, our first caution has come out for the Pennsylvania 200 for the ARCA RE/MAX Series. We'll be back with more racing right after this.